And we are back with Today in the Napa Valley, the Napa Chammber Edition. I'm your host, Chris Templeton with Influence Internet, and I now have the pleasure of introducing a guy who is probably about as committed to this community as anyone I know. I mean, you're right up there with maybe a Sarah Brooks and a Craig Smith and a Julie Morales. Randy Martinsen, welcome.
Thank you, Chris.
It is great to have you, and I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. You've got a radio voice, too.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Grgich Hills.
Yes, Grgich Hills.
Tell everybody a little bit about the history of Grgich Hills.
Oh, my gosh, there's a lot of history.
There's a lot, isn't there?
Yes.
An older winery.
Yes, it's an older winery. Mike Grgich came to the United States in 1958 from Croatia and began working in the wine industry here with Souverain Cellars, which is now Burgess Cellars.
Okay.
And then went to Christian Brothers for a while, and then he went to Andrei Chelachev's Beaulieu Vineyards.
Uh-huh.
And then he worked for Robert Mondavi.
I wish I could say that. And then went to Mondavi.
Mondavi, and he was there for several years and learned from each one of these winemakers. He learned an enormous amount about making wine the European style, which is different than the way the winemakers at the time in Napa were making wine.
Right.
So then Ernie Hahn and Jim Barrett came along from Los Angeles and wanted to open Chateau Montelena. And they partnered with Mike. He was a limited partner with them, and they opened Chateau Montelena in 1972. And Mike was the winemaker and made the wines that actually won in the 1973 Chateau Montelena won in the Paris tasting of 1976. Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Huh.
So in 1977, he decided to take his money, because they made a lot of good money, and he partnered with Austin Hills of the Hills Brothers Coffee family.
Wow.
And they opened Grgich Hills. That's why it's called Grgich Hills. There are no hills, but that's where the hills comes from, is Austin Hills and his sister Mary Lee Strebel. And so in 1977, July 4th, they broke ground and opened Grgich Hills, and more history has been made since then.
So 36 years?
36 years ago.
Man, it must have been a whole different world in the 70s.
Well, there were 24 wineries. He was the number 24th winery in Napa, and today there are almost 500.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, the Paris tasting changed the world because it put the United States, first of all, on the map and said, we can make good wine, and then it put Napa on the map. But Napa has grown phenomenally, but so has the rest of the United States.
Right. But we're still kind of the center of it all.
Well, there's only 1% of the whole world who
has... This is the part that blows me away. Go ahead.
Has a Mediterranean climate like Bordeaux and Burgundy, France, and Napa is one of those places. So we just have the perfect climate, the perfect terroir, the perfect everything to make the most beautiful wines on earth.
Man, yeah, it's true. As far as Mike Grgich goes, he's going to be 90?
He turned 90 on April 1st of this year.
And it wasn't an April Fool's.
And we've gotten an enormous amount of traction out of just his being 90. The world has recognized him being 90 years old, and the wines are just beautiful today. We had a special press conference the 8th of April with a whole bunch of wine writers all over the country who came to taste the 1972 Chardonnay that he made. That,
oh my God.
And it's still alive. It still has...
No kidding.
To have a white wine, a Chardonnay, be that old and still have quality and still be a good wine, it's just phenomenal.
Oh, that must have been quite the experience.
It was an experience.
We're here with Randy Martinsen from Grgich Hills up in St. Helena. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, get a commercial or two out of the way, and then come back. What do you think?
Great.
This is Today in the Napa Valley, the Napa Chammber Edition. Stay with us. And we are back with Today in the Napa Valley, the Napa Chamber edition. I am your host, Chris Templeton with Influence Internet, and I am here with the one, the only, Randy Martinsen, who, before we go into Grgich, talk a little bit about your history with the Napa Chamber. Man, oh man, you're quite the stud, let's face it.
Well, I joined the Napa Chamber 11 years ago, July, and within a year was on the board of directors. And I served on the board of directors for the Napa Chamber for 9 full years, and then 2 partial years also, because I was the interim CEO after Lisa Batto left until Chris came on board.
Well, and that's that's about the most self-effacing version. You've busted your butt over there, and on behalf of the chamber and on behalf of the business community, let there be no doubt that is the case.
Well, thank you, Chris.
And thank you. Now, you are the marketing director at Grgich Hills. Have you had pretty good results in the last year or so?
We have, since they brought me on. And, you know, it's not all marketing, but the economy is part of that. But
Sure.
We have grown 24% over last year.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's not 24% of economy growth, is there?
No, there isn't.
What do you attribute that to? What are the things that you think, have been the biggest keys to that?
Well, Mike's 90th birthday is huge, and it's something that all press wanted to talk about. And we've had press all over the country and the world because of this 90th birthday. In conjunction with that, we released a new Chardonnay, which is called the Paris Tasting Chardonnay, and it is made in very close to the same style that he made the original 1972 and 73 Chardonnays that won in Paris.
Man.
So it has been a phenomenal success as well. We've sold out. It's all sold this year since April. From April 13th, when we released it, until now, the whole vintage
3 months
is
gone.
Yes.
So you guys have also, you just kind of got so much going on. You just were involved with a documentary, Like the Old Vine?
Yes, Like the Old Vine was actually released last year and was shown in the Napa Valley Film Festival in November of last year. And it has been entered into other competitions as well and has just won an award in Paris.
No kidding.
And so Violet Grgich, who is Mike's daughter, is going to go to Paris and receive that award on September 27th of this year.
Very cool. Very cool. So talk about what's going on with you guys. You guys have some renovations going on at the winery?
Yeah, for those folks in the area who haven't been to the winery in a while, you won't know the winery when you show up. It's completely renovated. We have changed the landscaping on the outside. There are places for people to have box lunches if they want to come and have special events at the winery. We have far more space and a lot more attractive places to sit and just enjoy the wines and have a great time.
What are the things that have made it that much more appealing?
The landscaping was grass before, and when we were using that space, the grass would get trampled on. We now have a huge patio in that space under the olive groves, and it's beautiful. We're also utilizing the inside space inside the winery itself, where prior to this year, we never had an event in the wine cellar itself, but the 90th birthday gala was held in the wine cellar, and we transformed it in a way that was absolutely stunning. So those folks who had the opportunity to come and attend, just jaw-dropping. It was beautiful.
The history must be such a thrill for you to be able to be a part of that and to celebrate. I mean, somebody who has had such a huge impact on this valley.
Well, thank you. Yes, it has. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm really passionate about Grgich Hills.
I had not
and winemaking.
noticed that. No, Randy. So talk about that. When you think about, how excited you are to be there and do what you do, what are the things that come to mind for you first? What are the things you just like,
Well, the first thing is I'm passionate about winemaking, and I do my own little home winemaking, and I make about 50 cases a year. And Mike Grgich knew that when he hired me, and one of the reasons that he thought I was a great fit was because I'm a a winemaker as well.
Right.
And one of the blessings of working at Grgich Hills is that I have the opportunity to learn from Mike and the other winemakers who are there. Ivo, his nephew, is in charge of the winemaking today. Mike still comes, he still tastes, and he still puts his opinion in, but Ivo's the one who's in charge.
Right.
And is doing a phenomenal job of increasing the tastes of the wine, and we're constantly evolving, but still have some of our stable wines that have always been there. And I get to learn from those experts. That's better than going to UC Davis.
Yeah, and to have people that are so good at what they do. And it seems like one of the things that surprised me, you hear a lot of people talk about family-owned businesses over the years, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But boy, oh boy, in this valley, there's so many families that continue, and this is clearly one of them.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Violet Grgich runs the sales and marketing side of the business, and Ivo Heremas, his nephew, came from Croatia also, and he's vice president of vineyards and winemaking. So he manages the entire production side of the world. And it's a family-run business, and it's very, very comfortable to work there. I've worked in other family-run businesses that were not so comfortable.
I was going to say.
This one is beautiful. This one works really well.
I guess that was my point, is a lot of times comfort is like the last word you would think about when it comes to a family-run business. Right? And
yeah.
here they are just doing a beautiful job 36 years after starting the winery. And geez, how many years after he started doing wine work? 40, 45 plus, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah. Well, he actually went to the University of Zagreb when he was very young in Croatia, and came to the United States when he was in his 50s. So he's been making wine ever since he was 3 years old. His father was a winemaker in Croatia, and he learned how to make wine from his father, but then has had all the education on top of that with all the other experiences in the valley and with other great winemakers. And so it's just a phenomenal place to be.
So we've got to wrap it up pretty quick, but give me 3 points that you think are just the most critical for people to know about Grgich.
I think that everyone needs to come and taste some of the new releases that we are releasing right now.
Okay.
Some of the older vintages of the library vintages are also very phenomenal, and we have a unique a tasting experience at the winery called the Unforgettable Tour. It gives you the opportunity to hear a lot more history than I've had time to talk about today, and to taste some of the most phenomenal wines on earth. One of the benchmarks for Mike Grgich is that he does not do malolactic fermentation on his Chardonnay or his Fumé Blanc, which is Sauvignon Blanc. And what that does is make it a crisp, refreshing wine rather than a heavy, buttery. oaky wine, which typically Chardonnay is. But if you like this, they're both great styles. It's just one style is different than another, and I love his Chardonnay.
Well, that's really been a shift in the last 5 or 10 years. Is moving to more crisp whites, isn't it?
Yes.
Versus the buttery.
Yeah,
which we thought was great when we thought it was great, but we've moved on, haven't we?
We have.
Last thing, you guys just got a TripAdvisor award.
We did.
Talk about that.
Well, TripAdvisor, many people may not know who TripAdvisor is, but if you go to tripadvisor.com, you can learn about where to go, places to see.
Yep.
And TripAdvisor gave Grgich Hills the top award for a winery, which only 10% of businesses get, which we're very proud of.
Very cool. Randy Martinsen from Grgich Hills, you guys can be reached at 963-2784?
That's correct.
707-963-2784, and at www.grgich, grgich.com.
Yes, sir.
And go say hi to Randy. Just a great guy.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey, thank you for being here, Randy. This is Today in the Napa Valley, the Napa Chamber Edition. We'll be back after these messages. Stay with us.